Houston, well, really Dallas, Dallas, Texas. We're out here. This is the second episode that I've done out here this weekend. So excuse my shirt. I normally like to be a lot more exclusive, and when I do episodes, I want to do a shirt for each episode. But I figured, hey, I don't have a lot of time to be moving around, and I want to come out here. The hottest podcast needs to talk to the hottest people. You know what I'm saying? So. Destiny, before we get started with the episode, do you have anything you want to say?
Hi. No problem.
Okay.
Hello.
Houston, Texas, by the way, at Dallas, Texas. Let's get into the episode.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Dear John, the iconic legend Quincy Jones said, "To know where you came from makes it easier for you to get where you're going." Sean Diddy Combs said, "Everyone has challenges and lessons to learn. We wouldn't be who we are without them." If 2018 and the last 6 years taught you something, it's that anything is attainable with the right focus and determination. Continue to build. Continue to promote your vision. Continue to inspire creativity and make more creatives. In closing, Nas said, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. The first chapter of your vision's movements is done. However, you're still a visionary. Peace and blessings. John Ross."
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigga, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my body.
Welcome back to episode number 22 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. My name is John Ross Dike II, and before we get started off with the episode of Destiny, I want to introduce our social media handles so we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and Still_Visionary. My website is stillvisionary.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like my fan page on Facebook. Yes.
Okay, fan page.
Oh, man. Go ahead. How are you?
I'm good.
You want to give us your social media handles?
Yeah. So, Destiny Unveiled and
Yeah.
personal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All of them. And a website if you got one.
Okay. So, website is destinyunveiled.org.
Okay.
And then Facebook is Destiny Unveiled. Instagram is also Destiny Unveiled, and Twitter, we barely use it, but it's What Is Your Veil? And my personal Instagram is Capturing Destiny.
Okay. So I don't know. I've always told myself that you need to say this on every episode because I am too lazy to have people's names and all of that pop up during the episode when they introduce that. So all of those tags will be on the episode in the episode credits on SoundCloud and YouTube. So this is where I want to start the episode off with, right?
Do it.
This is episode number 22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And as I think back on all the episodes that I've done and the features that I've had on the episode, you and Phil have names that are double entendres. You know what I'm saying? So, Capturing Destiny, can you explain to me and to the What's Next podcast fan base what that means personally and career-wise?
So this isn't anything to do with...
Oh, no. It all...
Okay.
Because I just wanted to get...
Like the personal...
Yeah, I want to get that capture, what you mean by capturing destiny, and then we'll dive back into everything. So
Capturing Destiny was just random. Okay. I was just trying to change my handle.
From what?
I forgot what it was. That's crazy. I don't know.
Okay.
It's been a while now.
Okay.
But it was really, if you think about Instagram and social media, you're capturing things.
Okay.
And so I was like, Capturing Destiny.
Okay.
And then I kind of dabbled into photography.
Okay.
So I do a little bit on the side.
Okay.
I'm not like my brother.
Okay.
But it also kind of led into having a site for people when they want to look at what I've done, my profile, Capturing Destiny.
Okay. And the reason why I say double entendre is because your name is Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Capturing would be maybe, in that essence, you say taking a picture, so recollecting on a memory.
Their destiny.
And then, okay. See, that's why I said double entendre. This is our first time sitting down and talking like this, but I'm so connected with your family.
Back.
I'm so connected with your family. I was in your brother's wedding, Greg.
But I knew you before.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah, we go back to the U of H days. Go Cougs.
Take it all the way back.
So how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. It's been a good week.
Yeah? A good week? What about the month?
Well, the month just started.
Okay.
And it's been good because it's my birthday month.
Okay.
So
July
12th.
July 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shout out to my niece. She was born in July. Khalees Farmer. She was born in July.
And my nephew.
Yeah. Ari. He just had his birthday.
The 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. It's 5.
All right. This podcast is all about talking to the creatives, and without saying what I do, I watch a lot of people on Instagram. I just scroll through, and I'm fascinated at your journey. By the end of this episode, I'll know exactly what it is, but I'm fascinated about your journey because you've always been sort of, to me, an enigma. And I don't want to sound negative about that, but you've always been somewhat of a puzzle. Like getting to know you, you'd have to actually be close to you to get to know you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I take it.
Okay.
So
that's true though.
So we had a conversation, and it's funny because episode 21 I had Addie on, and Addie and I spoke at when we were at Mike's crib last year. And then Addie and I spoke on the telephone. You and I spoke at Mike's crib, and I told you what I was going to be doing. And then we spoke on the telephone again when I was in San Antonio last year for a coaching clinic. So, let's talk about you, man. What happened when you disappeared from Houston, Texas?
Actually, I didn't want to leave Houston.
Okay.
I never thought I would leave Houston. I loved Houston.
Yeah.
But the Lord called me back to Dallas, and I got into 2 master's programs. So UT Houston, which sometimes I'm like, dang, I went to UT Houston. It's okay, And then I went to UNTL Science Center instead.
Okay.
It was weird. It just changed overnight because I really thought I was never going to leave Houston, and my feelings changed overnight. And I went ahead and accepted UNTL Science Center in Fort Worth. So brought me back to Dallas.
Okay.
And so you want to know what the journey has been like?
Well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
I just want to know what you did when you left Houston.
Yeah, I got to my master's program.
Okay.
It's interesting. I would say, just a little caveat, I would tell anyone, and everyone's journey is different, but I wish I would have waited to get my master's.
Okay.
Because what I'm doing now, I'm doing more so the operations side of healthcare, and I got my master's in public health.
Okay.
So if I would have waited, I would have probably done my MHA. So,
okay. What is the difference?
Public health is more so community health, so that's getting programs together. I don't do any of that. MHA is more so the admin, part of healthcare, operations, business growth, development, things that I do now. So, and I love it. So I would have picked something different.
Okay.
Just trying to fast track my life and,
Okay. So let's dive right into it. Okay.
Okay.
I'm watching your social media. You disappeared for a while on social media. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
many times.
I find that a lot of women do that. Sometimes it's something.
Unplug.
Yeah.
I still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how so? What do you mean?
Because and it depends on just the person. For me, if I know that there's things that I need to do, or it's a season where I need to be a little bit more quiet, I just will unplug and I will just focus on the task at hand and then get back on. Okay. I think it's healthy because to always be on and to always see everyone's life and not really just have a time where you just take time away. I don't know. Some people, don't ever do that, but for me, it's healthy for me.
Do you find yourself comparing your life to other people's
I
lives?
do sometimes. It's not as bad, but I do. There are times when, let's say, if I'm really wanting something and it hasn't happened yet, and I'll see something and I'm like, start to compare. But I've done a really good job because I've been in counseling and everything. A really good job of being able to say, okay, I might be feeling some type of way that doesn't make it true. So it helps me not to compare as much because I'm like, what I'm feeling isn't actually valid. If that makes sense.
Okay. So what I like to do on the podcast is I like to bring creatives out, and the Destiny Unveiled is what I want to get into. I want to delve into that deeply because I want to get a true understanding for that
of what it is.
Yes. So let's start. So we have a conversation in 2018. I remember we were talking about. I think we were talking about just radio and diving out there and just taking the opportunity and going by. Let's dive into that. Where did that idea come from? The Destiny Unveiled. Yeah.
So it's a long story. So I guess I should just go ahead and get into it.
While you do that, let me go grab one thing. Just go ahead. Just go. Okay. Go.
So Destiny Unveiled. It started honestly when I moved to. I guess the beginning started when I moved back to Dallas, and the Lord just really began to do a work in my heart. And I left Houston. One of the reasons I even moved back to Dallas is because I was in Houston, and I left Houston really not knowing who I was. It's like you can be in college and people can say all these great things about you, but I think I put so much stock into people that I left not knowing who Destiny really was, what Destiny really liked. And so I moved back to Dallas, and I was really broken. I didn't know who I was, and people. It's funny. I talk to close friends, and they're like, "That I don't see that in you," and I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe I was hiding it." And actually, I was hiding it, but I didn't know who I was, and so the Lord just began speaking to me like, "This is why you're in Dallas." And there's this word that He gave me. It's uncovered. But the synonymous term is unveiled. It means to make known, to bring to light, to expose, unveil. So I knew literally the Lord is like, I brought you from Houston using your master's program as as the tool to lead you because you're going to follow education.
Okay.
And I'm here to uncover who you really are.
Okay.
And so that's literally what these past 8-9 years have been, is just the Lord uncovering things in my heart.
Okay.
And one thing that He always tells me is that it's not just about me. Like, if I'm walking in freedom, or if the Lord is doing something in my heart, it can never just be about my personal endeavor. It has to be including other people. And so it's also for other women. So we incorporated in 2016 of March and launched July 12th of 2016. And our mission really is just to see women walk in freedom. And so we do that through media, through stories, through events, through service. And that's a project too that's coming up to just help women in the Dallas area where we can give back. But the media part is really because when I was in my master's program, I did a huge research paper, like 50 pages, over media, women, and socialization.
Yeah.
And I found out that women use social media the most. That's probably why a lot of women get off,
Yeah.
And we're just wired different from men too, right?
Yeah.
So women use it the most, they're affected the most. And my thought process was like, how can we be a part of changing the narrative? So not just posting these really pretty selfies and life is amazing. But when we launched, it was women, literally 30 women plus all over, just sharing what their veil is. And this is people who look really confident, who you've seen probably in the public, and they're just sharing like, I struggle with low self-esteem, I struggle with insecurities. And so my purpose when it comes to media is media helps to shape, our minds. You know what I mean? So how can I be a part of changing the narrative of let's show honest stories versus everything in my life is amazing. So that's really the heart of it, is really just how can we see women walk into freedom and through these 4 different pillars.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that you said it because going through what I'm going through right now, my wife and I, we just recently lost our son. And I think that sometimes before that, social media wasn't like, I've never looked and compared my life to anybody else.
That's good.
And I mean, maybe in the aspect of, okay, well, I could be doing this a little bit more to get here. But I think that, this is the hardest part of my life. that I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
And I think that instead of, just always because I like to look at the glass half full,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm looking at the glass like there's water in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So at all times, I'm always an optimist, or I'm always an optimist that has realistic viewpoints.
Yeah.
But during this season, this has got to be one of the toughest seasons that I've ever been. I've never been through pain, and I've never been through confusion that I am in this moment. So I think that sometimes with social media, as I watch it, people do put the best up, want the best to be up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
and you were vulnerable too. You showcased, I think on Facebook, right? You shared, and I think that is huge.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know who was behind, even though it's your pain.
Yeah.
There's probably someone like, dang, Jared just shared that.
Yeah.
That gives me, I need to make sure that I'm sharing my heart too. So, like, proud of you for doing that, even though that was really, really difficult.
That's a very, very good point, because I realize this, I'm going through it. And I think that a part of my journey and part of my process is that I was kind of squeaky clean. And when I say squeaky clean, never stepped out on my grill before. I really don't steal. You know what I'm saying?
You really don't?
I really don't steal.
Sometimes
you can steal some time at work indirectly. I really don't do nothing like that. I really don't.
Never done that.
I don't be. I don't be in places that I'm not supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when I put that out there, the outpour of support, but also the outpour of people sharing their same experiences that I was going through, kind of was like, okay, well,
I've been, like someone saying, me too. I've been there too.
Or I just we miscarried, or I lost mine the day after. And so, it just really taught me resilience, one, but, my son taught me resilience, but also to be grateful. Yeah. And when I got the phone call that a brother of mine had lost his kid after they were born, I told my brother that I was talking to, I was like, man, I'm grateful for this moment, because I was sitting bedside next to my kid. Yeah. And, so we seldom, we're quick to say, you know what, man, why us? Mm-hmm. But I'm just grateful for that day and the remaining days that I spent with him. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, I mean, I watch your Instagram, right? And I'm just like, for me, when I'm watching people's moves, I try to anticipate what it is that they hope to gain from what they're doing. Like, why are you doing this? And that's the whole reason why I started this podcast. I mean, the first go around with my first podcast, it was all about, trying to make our perspectives important to everybody else who's watching, right? And so it really had no connection to anybody. If you don't care, you just don't care. So that's why we named it the way we named it. But this go around, I want to talk to people and find out their journeys. So you said that you moved back to Dallas. You were broken. What does that entail about being broken? I want to get to the specifics.
I got my tissue. I'm just kidding. To me, broken is you're not complete. You don't feel whole. Mm-hmm. You don't feel purposeful. Yeah. It's kind of like you're confused. Yeah. Like what am I supposed to be doing in my life? Yeah. What is life? Yeah. What is the purpose of life? Yeah. What is my purpose in life? Yeah. And I grew up very, very independent. Mm-hmm. Like the only girl, 3 boys. So it's very sassy. Like my brother said I was bossy. I'm not bossy now, but when I was younger, it's kind of like I see my nephew, and he just loves life, and he's full of life, and he gets excited, and I think along the way as humans, adults, like things happen in our lives that we're not excited anymore, even about the small things. And I think when you're not excited about the small things, there's something going on within. And I think I was at a point where I thought life was going to be a certain way once I graduated. Okay. I put so much stock in ministries I was doing in school, my friendships and everything, and everyone was moving on. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Going on to jobs, moving, people getting married, and I literally felt like I was stuck and didn't get the job of my dreams. Literally,
which was
I was working at my former boss was a healthcare executive coach. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I told people, I said I have full scholarship, like I did well in college. Oh, it's not going to be hard getting a job. And that was when the economy crashed too. So 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even think I was not going to get a job, you know, full time, you know, great paying job, you know, the dream that you're sold once you graduate. And I didn't get I didn't get that. And I was single. Just a lot of things weren't working in the way that I thought. And so I just felt depleted. I was angry, upset. But I look at the beauty of that season too, because a lot of my friends were, they moved away, and also there were friends who lived far away. I lived a little bit far off Westheimer, near, kind of almost near Memorial City area. Yeah. You know, so everyone's, yes, like West, it's called West something.
West Oaks?
No, not West Oaks.
Okay.
West Park?
West Park, probably.
Is it West Park?
But that's not near Memorial City.
I don't think it's called West Park then, but it is near. I live near Memorial City Mall, so off Gessner.
Okay, I know where you are.
Near City Center. Yeah. So, you know, it was very like a isolating place too. So when you're isolated, you kind of filter things through yourself. I don't think isolation is healthy at all. I think there are periods when it's good to be by ourselves. Yeah. But like extended isolation is actually not healthy. Yeah. So it was just a really hard place. Mentally it was hard. I was drained, you know? And so I honestly feel like the Lord was like, okay, she needs to get back to Dallas. And I've been restored here. You know, I feel like I'm thriving here. Okay. And I found my momentum. I understand what I'm called to do, even when things are hard, because we're all going to go through pain and situations and just things internally that just come up out of nowhere, triggers from, I feel like everyone experienced something in childhood that is a trigger when they get older and they don't even know it, you know what I mean, with our parents or whatever. And so, but I really do feel like these past 8 years have been good, you know, just really understanding who I am so I can help people understand who they are in Him.
Correct. Oh, so, okay. So, is it, how many people do you work with in Destiny Unveiled?
So, it's interesting because while we have board members, which is 2-3 people, I feel like I have a whole bunch of advisors. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously founders, president. Yeah. But I have like my friend, he's a brother in Christ. Okay. To me, he's like a creative director. Okay. And so even tomorrow we're shooting a photo shoot, and he's done so many shoots with me and given me ideas, and I bounce ideas off him. Okay. So I would say it's a handful of people that work together. Okay.
Are y'all nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay, so y'all got y'all 501, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, we incorporated 2016.
So take us to that. So we were talking about filming something last year, right? And of course, you got one of the dopest photographers I've ever seen in my lifetime. Your brother, Greg. You got him to do. Take us to that event. What were y'all doing in that event? Because you had you girls. You look. You know, when I watch your Instagram page and I see. Especially the Destiny Unveiled, when y'all always seem to be full of life. And in that video shoot, y'all were dancing. Y'all were. What were y'all doing that particular day?
So Greg didn't shoot that though. Okay, she would have. He actually shot my 30th birthday photos. Okay, and those are like classic photos. Okay, it's just great. It's Greg Noir, Instagram
for sure.
Check him out.
Yeah.
It was actually my friend Keenan, my brother. So he's the one who shot that. That was a campaign that we did early this year. And the song that we used, which is where we were dancing, was Crowned by Kelly Rowland. And so we're just dancing. Okay. We're just dancing. And each woman shared their story. So it was about a total of 12 women that we selected. We were all wearing white. And we took everyone's photos. My thought process was, how can we capture each woman in their element? So just taking photos that I feel like expressed who they are in their story. And then they shared that. I think this is our third year. Yeah, on the 3 years in March was 2019. Was when we turned 3. And so we did something special for turning 3.
Okay. What song's on your mind right now?
So the song on my mind is called Entitled Song. By Leah Smith.
Leah Smith. She gospel? What does she do?
Yeah, she's gospel. A gospel artist, I guess, or I don't know, Christian contemporary. Okay. But she sings about God, so I guess she's gospel.
Let me see what I want to go with. Let me come back to it because I don't know. Let me
Okay.
come back to it. Let me come back to it. Okay. So today is July the 7th, 2019, and we have 178 days left in the year. What do you hope to attain in those 178 days?
That's a good question. It's like if you say it, you can go back and see.
Yeah.
Am I going to be real or fake?
So let me give you a little backstory. You want to hear the backstory?
Yeah.
So the backstory behind the countdown was in my last company, we got to the point where there was a whole, for me, there was a whole bunch of talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like
talk in terms of
like, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this, we should do
versus
that.
doing it.
Yes, and you know, when you get into that habit of saying, like, I hear all the time people say you need to have one of those posters where you set your goals on there, something like that. And initially I was like, yeah, I just hear you talking about that. You know, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? But then I realized how much time was wasting after, you know, you do it for a year. You get that first year is full. You're full of energy. Second year, you know, you're still building. Third year, you're still going, and then it starts to trickle into that 5, 6 year, sixth year. And I got to the point where it was just like, we talking about, why are we always talking about stuff and not doing? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about, like, I believe that education is for whoever decides to go and pursue a higher education. But the way the society is going right now, if you get on the internet, you can learn whatever you want to learn. So I put a countdown to just keep me accountable of what I need to be doing by a certain day. So, you know, my whole thing was, you know, I wanted to do a college tour in 2018, and I set a time. Okay, I need to have this done, because I want to take kids to school. If you don't have that multi-million-dollar idea, okay, if you're not rapping, which a lot of kids are not good at, if I'm just going to be honest, if you're not rapping, if you're scared, if you're not an artist, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to take some kids to college. So the countdown was really just, okay, at 178 days left, what am I going to do to better off what I did yesterday? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I pose that question on every episode because I like to hear what the creative has in mind to get accomplished at the end of the year, because it's every year resets. So it's 365. Next year will be 366. And when a countdown is down to 2 days or 1 day, I need to say, okay, that 364 days, or this year 363 days, I got this accomplished. Boom. I'm moving on to this next goal next year.
Yeah, that's good. Whew. Man.
So with 178 days, what do you hope to get accomplished? Gosh. And while you think about that, I guess what I'm going to do is, strictly from this conversation, I'm going to go Nas New World off the Nostradamus LP. You know, I'm a big Nas fan. Lost Tapes 2 is coming out. That's just a shameless plug. So by the time this episode drops on the 23rd of July, okay, it's going to be out. So, yeah, so that's on my mind, New World. Go ahead.
All right. This is good. A good question, because I feel like I need to go back and literally think. But I also write everything down in a journal. I know I'm just that girl who's writing everything out, like everything that I think about out. So concrete, I couldn't tell you, but like more high level. And this might be really far-fetched, but you know, God can do anything. It would be really cool to have a partner that isn't in the U.S. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In terms of collaboration, just because, and I've never thought this way until a mentor said, you really need to start thinking globally. And
so expansion.
Expansion, exactly. Great words. Expansion. Just because, like you said, it's year 3, and I really think God has done so much already. I mean, I remember someone reaching out to me and saying, hey, I actually was gonna end my life, and there's something that you posted. So it's a reminder that what I'm doing matters. It's really bigger than me, and I would love to take it, not just, you know, people that I know are in Texas, but really to expand. Like, that is my hope. So I just pray that there's a resource that, not even a resource, my friend said to stop calling it that, but something that I'm dropping on July 12th, my birthday, that I really hope that it can get into the hands of a lot of people, because I do think that the power of vulnerability, opens the door for someone else to be vulnerable. Yeah. And so sharing a little bit more of my story that people may never have even known about, like you said, being an enigma. Some people don't know things about me until they actually sit down and talk with me. Yeah. And it would be great for that to be like that stepping stone of expansion. Yeah. Yeah.
You say, that's the perfect word, expansion, because I actually think that I got the title for this episode, expansion. But the reason why I say that is I was talking to Phil, and Phil said, you should do this and you should do that with the podcast. And I'm thinking, that's a great idea. Right. And my whole thing is
kind of like going down that road of expansion.
Yes. And so my whole thing was I invested in all of this to be able to be mobile. And I said to myself, and I'm just grateful that this morning I didn't chicken out of doing that, getting on that road. Yeah. The drive up here was easy. Yeah. Now the drive back, I don't know. But
it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. I got a couple of podcasts. But just getting the creatives, man, creation comes in so many facets that I want to be able to expose it all.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
So speaking of expansion, I just thought about something, which is great because my word of the year is unleashed.
Okay.
And I'm like, Lord, what does that look like, or how is that even going to play out? Because you have this word. For me, when it comes to how the year's guided, is by a word. Okay. So I'm centering everything around that. Okay. So in March, we did where these women, and I'll be honest, so I'm on your podcast, be honest.
Please do.
And it's like, as someone, when you have vision for something, even though sometimes you try to act like it's not a big deal if anyone sees it, but then you want people to see it. It is a big deal because you really, I think you really want people to be impacted by what you do or inspired. Yeah. And so I'm like, Lord, I really thought, I didn't think the numbers were what I wanted it to be. Yes. And it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be thinking like that or carrying grand. And I think you shouldn't think that your value is based on that. That has nothing to do with your value, but it's like you want to expand, you want to grow, you want more people to feel your heart because you know that there's something that God is doing. And so it's interesting how little by little He's shown me what unleashed really means. And I do think that when it comes to expansion, the person who is wanting to expand has to take that first step. Correct. You know what I mean? I can't say I want expansion and I'm not moving. Yes. I have to move in faith and then let God do the rest. And so if you think about you, expansion, Phil tell you certain things. Yeah. You drove here. Yeah. You have no clue what God's going to do now.
Yeah, I appreciate
So that just literally came to my mind.
That is a great fact.
That's dope.
Yeah. So. To wrap that idea, I just, I did an episode with a lady who, episode number 12, now that I'm thinking about it, I did an episode with her, and her story from nothing to something was really inspiring. I think that New Orleans people have always been, they've always been beautiful people. Yeah. You go there, I grew up hearing stories about New Orleans, that they rough, it's murder capital of the world. And, over time things change, but she was speaking at the end of that episode, and she said, I have a list of affirmations.
Come on, girl.
And a part of one of my affirmations that I've started recently saying, and I believe wholeheartedly, is I have the hottest podcast in the city of Houston, Texas. And if that's the case, and I'm bringing out the creatives that I feel are hot, then I'm going to go to wherever they are. And and that's how I find myself out here in Dallas, Texas this weekend.
And I want to encourage you in that for a few things. I want to say that your consistency is something that's inspirational for me. Yeah. Because I think we were talking before, and I think often when it comes to something that we're doing, something that we're creating, it's easy to be excited. It's like that first year, and then like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
So we never get to see like the fulfillment of a thing because we're always jumping to the next thing, and you've literally been going. This is not your first rodeo. You've been doing this.
Oh, Jesus
and
Christ.
I was listening to something the other day, and this girl was comparing her podcast number to another woman's, and she was saying, I've been doing this stuff underground for 25 years.
Yeah.
So this blow up wasn't overnight. This has been 25 years in the making, and so you're planting seeds along the way of what's going to expand in the future.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Pastor Mike Todd.
No.
Transformation Church.
I do, because he came down to Hope City once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do. I follow
his
him on
story
Instagram.
is dope.
Yeah.
So pretty much lead pastor at a church in Tulsa, Oklahoma. People didn't expect it. People were left when they found out he was becoming, because he's this young guy on fire, dresses like everyday, you know what I mean? And people in the church were a little bit older, so they're like, who is this fool coming up in here? And he said that he would walk the halls and he would be like, hey to my secretary, hey to my assistant, and no, there was no one there, but he would speak as if they were. Until now that they have like a huge team of people, like, gives me chills. You know what I mean? And I just think that is so important. Like that is something that I need to remember, is that I need to declare things, you know, that he's putting on my heart. And even if I don't yet see it, you're saying this is the hottest podcast. I love that you're saying that. Yeah. Because anything that's hot started from being unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love that. That's like really, really encouraging.
Speaking of him, he came to Hope City one time, and his sermon was so thorough.
Was it the Marked one?
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I know that, you know, I do the cameras at Hope City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you know, they put up his I can't think of it right now, but they put up his tag. And I kept repeating his tag while I'm on the camera. Keep repeating it because I wanted to be able to follow him right when, you know, I didn't want to wait.
His Instagram.
Yeah, follow him right quickly. Like, you know, I was like, oh no, he was preaching. He was preaching. But so this is what I want to do. Here on the What's Next podcast. Here on the What's Next podcast, we bring creators out and we find out about their journeys. And so the What's Next podcast derived from me. I think that as a creative, my mind is always like, some people's mind are linear, right? My mind is a blank canvas. And so my thoughts paint the canvas, right? And so I can do a project and then I'm already thinking to myself, I have like, let's say I have the mixtape syndrome. That's my wife right there. I have the mixtape syndrome where I have a mixtape and I'm already working on the next one. Okay, because I don't know what's gonna stick. Yeah. But my work habit will get you to follow suit, right? So I'll pose this question: what's next for Capturing Destiny? What's next for Destiny Unveiled?
What's next? The world turns. What's next for Destiny Unveiled? I don't know. And I don't say that I'm not planning. I literally let God lead. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so I think things that are on my heart is that I really love, when we did our first video shoot and coming up with concepts, like I love that. Like I really, really love that. And even for tomorrow, this is more personal. You know, I've been thinking of how I want to be posed, and the concept as we're going into the room, and how I want him to direct, like, or pan the camera. It's like I really, really love media. You know what I mean? Like I really, really love media. So for me, what's next is really building upon that, because I do think that there's power in when you use media for good. And it's something that I love. Like when we shot the girls, I was thinking, okay, do this, shoot them like this, pose them this way, like all these ideas. I loved doing that. I love being behind the scenes. So I do really hope that one part of Destiny Unveiled will be that media side when it comes to women's stories.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
And then personal,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it'd be nice to be in a relationship.
No doubt.
You know,
no doubt.
I
mean,
think
yeah,
that I've
yeah.
grown a lot,
Yeah.
and I've developed a lot, and you know, my heart is in a place of I know that I would be able to receive a man coming into my life, and so I would love to be married.
Yeah.
Who knows when that's going to happen?
Yeah.
But I have hopes for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That'd be a great next.
No
step.
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
For sure. So here on the What's Next podcast, I like to give this exclusive SVI Black SVI tea to all the creators that come on. And this is how I know that you're on the podcast.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
What I owe you, I'm totally.
Houston, Texas, I'll leave you with this. I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. Peace and blessings, Houston.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy. All that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies. And them valleys, no Pilates. More way, get you more wet. Nah, that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guys. The Willie niggas who buy them bottles. And then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over and done. Overdose. Guess we did it again.